When I worked in the community level with community groups, they were facing very basic challenges. Financial audit garna आउँदैन, they don't know legal rules थाहा छैन. यस्तो organizations they try to stay hidden. तिमीसँग पैसा छ भने जो पनि माग्न आउँछ नि त
Exactly.
So उनीहरू लुकेर नै बस्छन्. Most of that value is concentrated into either like the founders or the VC firms, typically American VC firms. उनीहरूले त्यो value capture बढी गर्छ. Because when you're funding these Israeli startups, they don't create much jobs on the ground. Their customer bases are typically globally distributed as well. So the value चाहिँ एकदम सानो मान्छेहरूले मात्र पाउँछन् क्या.
Hey guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Doers. I say some season 6. Season 6 I'm already lamo garira ko because I think there are so many amazing guests. So season 6 I 15 episode bhanda lamo hune wala cha. Ani welcome back. Let me introduce you our sponsors before we begin our podcast. Our knowledge partner huncha ACCA. ACCA is a global group of professional accountants. Etihazu plus 2 pachi, master pachi, bachelor pachi. If you are looking for a financial degree, ACCA is something you should definitely look for. I have worked with a lot of amazing ACCA people, and let me tell you, these people are more than just accountants. Amazing people, so please do check them. हामी उहाँहरुको लिंक तल राख्दिन्छौं. हाम्रो अर्को पार्टनर हुन्छ एचआर पार्टनर इज अ बिस्किट. बिस्किट चाहिँ नेपालीले नै बनाएको सिम्पल, एफिसिएन्ट अनि एकदमै पावरफुल सफ्टवेयर हो. एज एन एन्टरप्रेन्योर आई थिंक वान अफ द बिगेस्ट च्यालेन्ज इज डेफिनेटली एचआर. सो ट्राई टु अटोमेट यो एचआर. तपाईहरु घर बसेर काम गरिराख्नु भएको छ, झन् अझ कोभिडले गर्दाखेरि आई थिंक रिमोट वर्किङ इज अन अ डिफरेन्ट डिग्री. सो प्लिज युज इट. 10 जनालाई चाहिँ इट्स कम्प्लिटली फ्री अनि 10 जना पछि चाहिँ यु क्यान सिम्पली pay from Nepali rupees, एकदमै minimal पैसा मा, and then use it. Give it a try. Not because these are made by Nepali people. These are genuinely strong, amazing software. Do support them. अनि हाम्रो interior partner, furnishing partner हुन्छ Lavish Interiors. They have given us an amazing sofa. It's very comfortable to talk to for an hour. And please do support them because they are supporting us to create a content like this, and we really believe these are the powerful content will be consumed by the next leaders of Nepal. अनि त्यति भन्दै let's move on to our official podcast. आजको podcast एकदम इन्ट्रेस्टिङ हुने वाला छ. किन भन्दाखेरि आई थिंक धेरै कम podcast हुन्छ जहाँ चाहिँ I meet with people once, then I meet with them twice, then I do a virtual meeting with them thrice, हैन. अनि I think आजको यो conversation चाहिँ it is after all couple of hour long meetings, and I am very excited. I'm very excited to welcome our special guest Ashraya. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Ani Ashraya introduce garda feri चाहिँ he has back to Nepal from US impact investing ma usko ekdam interest र experience छ अनि very interested on finance, investing and impact. I think Ashraya, this is not enough, so I would definitely want you to walk us through some of the things that you have done so that our audience can know you better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Anup, for inviting me. This your podcast was very new to me, so once I discovered it and we started having a conversation, I've learned a lot of things. So thanks for that, and thanks for the invite. Very quickly, let's try to make the background maybe a little bit more interactive as well.
Yeah, sure.
So भूकम्पको बेलामा हैन, भूकम्पको पछि म यहाँ नेपालमा कम्युनिटी ग्रुप्सहरुसँग काम गर्न थालेँ. A lot mostly electrification groups that lease electricity lines from the NEA and extend electricity to rural areas, हैन. अनि त्यति बेलामा अलिकति यो प्राइभेट इक्विटीको मान्छेहरु भेटघाट गर्न थाले अनि इम्प्याक्ट इन्भेस्टिङको कुरा गरे. And that really got me started about how these private investment funds can invest alongside community groups in community assets. अनि त्यही एक्सप्लोर गर्न US गए. So I went to a kind of a hybrid MBA. It was an international relations school. I focused on finance. And त्यसपछि I went to the finance industry there for a year in a multifamily office. So this was an organization where high net worth individuals pooled their capital and had kind of professional management to make investment decisions. So त्यहाँ चाहिँ मैले एकदम यो impact investment industry मा insight पाएँ. Across asset classes, not only venture capital and private equity, but also like public markets, in debt as well. And then after that, I went to an investment firm. We're building international and global equity portfolios with keeping in mind some of these impact principles, or another world is like ESG. So how do you use an ESG lens to invest in public markets? त्यहाँ चाहिँ अब 2 वर्ष जति काम गरेँ, पैसा उठाउनु पर्थ्यो, एकदम गाह्रो थियो हैन, compared to when I was at the family office where you had the capital अनि कसलाई पैसा दिने भनेर डिसाइड गर्थ्यो.
So दुईटा एक्सपिरियन्स छ, पैसा रेज गर्नको पनि दिनको पनि.
एकदमै पैसा दिने बेलामा त आफू त राजा जस्तो लाग्ने हैन. Like you had, some of these smartest people in the industry, right? Because US को private equity market भने हैन, it's very very competitive. And it's very very like high performance oriented, so you can imagine when you have like every day, every week, these like high powered private equity executives coming to you and convincing you that you're the smartest person in the world so that you can give them money.
And the money ko size kati huntyo?
उनीहरूको anywhere from like 5 million to like 20-30 million,
So and तिम्रो decision हुन्थ्यो दिने कि नदिने भनेर. So you get
no, I analyze them, लास्टमा गएर त्यो you kind of take it to an investment committee, you share it with the high net worth individuals that you have in your network, so त्यो अलि give and take process त हुन्छ. It's not I'm the decision maker भनेर होइन. But you have to write about them positively, right? Whoever the fund managers are that are coming to you, उसको राम्रो कुराहरू एकदम हाइलाइट गर्नु पर्यो. You have to get excited about them, right? अनि त्यसमा एकदम अमेरिकाको impact investment industry is very 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 much I think at the forefront compared to other spaces. So एकदम impact space मा very very unique strategies, very very committed individuals हुनुहुन्थे. त्यसपछि चाहिँ पैसा उठाउने बेलामा चाहिँ एकदम गाह्रो रहेछ. So I did that, and then recently चाहिँ for many reasons I came back to Nepal. यहाँ आएर चाहिँ I think creating impact here is different. The investment market here, capital markets as well as private markets are not sophisticated. So त्यहाँ जे गरे यहाँ गर्न मिल्दैन.
It's a completely new industry, new
exactly
domain for you.
Yes, so if you are like impact driven, which I think I am, then your theory of change changes. त्यहाँ गर्दाखेरिमा it was, you can influence, capital markets, you can influence capital to create impact भनेर हो. यहाँ चाहिँ अझै गाह्रो छ त्यो गर्न, for a lot of reasons which we'll get into. तर यहाँ आएर चाहिँ there's I think maybe operations, actually having boots on the ground, working with people, and building companies and building things. I think that's where you can probably have more impact.
Great. So, timi plus 2 सम्म नेपालमा गयो. Then you went to US. त्यसपछि फर्क्यौ. फेरि US गयो. अब यो सेकेन्ड टाइम US जाँदा फेरि चाहिँ because त्यतिबेला तिमीले कम्युनिटी लेभलमा काम गरिसकेको थियौ हैन. के डिफरेन्ट पर्सपेक्टिभ लिएर फर्क्यौ नि, अनि बुझ्यौ मेरो क्वेसन?
After going second time
सेकेन्ड टाइम जाँदा फेरि किन भन्दाखेरि फर्स्ट टाइम त तिमी पढ्न गयो, फर्क्यौ, त्यसपछि कम्युनिटी लेभलमा काम गर्यौ, त्यति बेला त तिम्रो कतिपय थट प्रोसेस त च्यालेन्ज भयो होला नि त. युएसमा पढेर आएको, देन यु आर वर्किङ इन अ कम्युनिटी लेभल हैन, व्हिच इज आई थिंक 180 डिग्री डिफरेन्ट. अनि त्यसपछि जाँदा फेरि चाहिँ व्हाट आर द थट प्रोसेस?
एब्सोल्युटली it was very very practical. फर्स्ट टाइम गएँ होइन, केही थाहा छैन. अब लिबरल आर्ट स्कुल भन्ने जस्तो पढ्न गएँ. अब त्यहाँ इट्स भेरी एब्स्ट्र्याक्ट होइन. यु लर्न अबाउट लाइक यो पनि पढ्यो, त्यो पनि पढ्यो, यो पनि त यो पढ्यो होइन. अगेन भेरी एब्स्ट्र्याक्ट. Second time, when I worked in the community level with community groups, they were facing very basic challenges. Financial audit garna aउँदैन, and they don't know legal rules, थाहा छैन होइन. अनि भूकम्पपछि त हामीलाई त्यही खाँचो थियो नि त. We needed people who can build things, पैसा ल्याएर you like put capital to work, you build companies, you build organizations. So त्यहाँ गएर when I went for my hybrid MBA, I focused very much on practical skills. I needed like finance skills, legal skills, contracts बुझ्नु पर्यो, balance sheet बुझ्नु पर्यो, strategy बुझ्नु पर्यो. And this was when at an international relations school where there was so much happening, and I went in 2016, so म जानेको 2 महिनापछि 2-3 महिनापछि डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प आयो अफिसमा हैन. So there was so much distraction that Donald Trump created. But then even in the midst of that, I knew you needed like these very strong skills, so that eventually if I did consider coming back to Nepal, यस्तो कुरा चाहिन्छ क्या यहाँ. मान्छेहरूलाई होइन आइडियोलोजिकल लेभलमा कुरा गरेर केही हुँदैन होइन यु निड लाइक हार्ड कोर स्किल्स द्याट यु क्यान युज अन द ग्राउन्ड फाइनेन्स ल स्ट्राटेजी सो द्याट यु क्यान मुभ द निडल होइन I think that was the biggest. I became a lot more practical. भनौँ न
अनि तिमीले कसरी त्यत्रो जुन तिमीले अपर्च्युनिटीहरू सेयर गरेर आएको छौ यस्तो पाए अपर्च्युनिटी भनेर आएको छ त्यो बिग अपर्च्युनिटी हो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई होइन कसरी पाउन पुग्यौ त त्यो हाई नेटवर्क इन्डिभिजुअल्सको इन्भेस्टमेन्ट कम्युनिटीभित्र तिमीले काम गर्ने अपर्च्युनिटी कसरी पायौ
इट्स भेरी डिफिकल्ट बिकज यस्तो अर्गनाइजेसन्स होइन दे ट्राई टु स्टे हिडन होइन तिमीसँग पैसा छ भने होइन जो पनि माग्न आउँछ नि त होइन सो उनीहरू लुकेर नै बस्छन् Boston, there is a lot of these type of companies because there's a lot of capital in Boston. You know, old money पनि छ, यो endowments पनि छ, universityहरूको टेकहरू बिस्तारै बढ्दैछ. So there's a lot of capital pools there. And I had to network like crazy. यहाँ आएर अब NGO and non-profit sectorमा बाट त्यहाँ फाइनेन्समा जानलाई होइन एकदम नेटवर्क गर्नु पर्थ्यो so once I kind of got into these circles and then you could tell that okay I know that investment strategy I know that investment strategy I know that person I think your credibility grows and I was able to maintain that you know I'm in this for you know impact and then Nepal आएको आफ्नो कथा सुनाए they believe that so exactly
great So yeah, I think my main question for the podcast is I think because तिमीसँग रिच आउट भएको पनि because of your LinkedIn bio थियो होइन I think you have हाम्रो कन्भर्सेसनमा पनि you have really highlighted the word impact and impact investing तर कतिपय कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ एउटा कि कस्तो पनि सोचिन्छ भन्दाखेरि any business is an impact oriented business because the business is giving people jobs होइन मान्छेलाई जब्स दिइरहेको छ सो त्यो एस्पेक्टमा चाहिँ क्यान यु हेल्प अस डिमिस्टिफाई वाट इम्प्याक्ट इन्भेस्टिङ रियली इज अनि यसलाई हेर्ने मल्टिपल पर्सपेक्टिभहरू
there are a lot of frameworks around this now because anyone can say something is impact right and because these impact investing now it's not only the domain of foundationहरू philanthropyहरू or your development financial institution ko matra area bhaina like commercial capital now like pension funds insurance companies sovereign wealth funds they're also starting to talk this language you know so there are frameworks about how specifically you can think about this right so impact bhana it's how you can define it and whether it's definable as well and so especially if you're looking for an investment strategy and the area we might be interested in, which is early stage companies. So let's discount a lot of business activities and let's look at early stage companies. Then there you're trying to figure out whether the business activity has some type of like lockstep with impact. उनीहरू दुईजना मिलेर इन्भेस्ट गर्छन् कि गर्दैनन् अगाडि बढ्छन् कि बढ्दैनन् because म as an investor if I have an impact and a financial mandate I want you to do well and make impact
which is more important doing well or doing making an impact
त्यो त अब के पैसा हो पैसाको ढाँचा के हो
कस्तो के पैसा हो भन्नाले
so this is very important it's you have to understand what the source of capital is and what its intent is
okay
capital को intent के हो उसलाई एकदम like commercial rate of return नै चाहिन्छ होइन आजको पैसा मलाई 5 वर्षमा ट्रिपल हुन्छ भने that's very different than a capital that says I just want like 3% return a year होइन मलाई 3% regular return for 3 महिनालाई 3 वर्ष 3% दियो for 5 years those two are very different right and if you look at global capital like pension funds for example that have $100 billion under management how they invest is they have like different buckets so 60% यसमा लाग्छु 40% यसमा हाल्छु
different asset class भन्छ
yes
asset class
right so how they divide that pool of capital $100 billion होइन कसरी मैले केमा हाल्ने त भनेर उनीहरूले आइडेन्टिफाई गरेपछि होइन and then within each of those buckets there's sub buckets as well तर त्यो हरेक bucketsमा there are constraints
अनि त्यसको चाहिँ different investment returns चाहिने हुन्छ maybe कसैबाट चाहिँ मलाई 30 चाहिन्छ कसैबाट 3 भयो हुन्छ
right absolutely exactly
okay
because you're combining it at the end into a portfolio होइन So that's why it's important to understand like where is that capital coming from. त्यसको intention के हो, त्यसको mandate के हो.
So the entrepreneurले पनि सोच्नु पर्यो even before taking investment कि where my investment is coming from, the source के हो भनेर हैन.
Yes, हामीले यो कुरा कति हाल्छ हैन. तिमीलाई आफ्नो कम्पनी ग्रो गर्नलाई हैन, you have a vision, right? Of this is the growth I want, this is the type of activities I want to do. So you really need to figure out what's the right capital that's going to come along with me for the ride and help me execute my vision. As opposed to जसले पनि आएर पैसा दिएर लिइहाल्छु भनेर भन्दाखेरिमा पनि. अनि त्यसमा अब प्राइभेट मार्केटमा पनि एकदम फरक छ हैन. भेन्चर क्यापिटल भनेपछि एकदम लाइक they're looking for 10 वटा कम्पनी आयो भने एउटा पड्क्यो भने पुग्यो उनीहरुलाई हैन. एउटा पड्क्यो भने पुग्यो. So they'll look for very high risk businesses. If you look at like private equity, अलिकति growth equity हेर्यो भने हैन, they want like 2 or 3 businesses out of the 10 to do well. So they will consider a little bit more mature businesses that are going to grow like maybe like average level 20% per year. So there are stages of different investors and उनीहरुको अब mandate के छ त. अहिले नेपालमा कति देखिरहेछौँ नि हामीले हैन, पैसाहरु like so banks are like funding private equity funds right now हैन. Dolmako investors are very different than Yako local bankers, for example. So the mandate is different, the return requirements are different, the way they have built partnerships are different, right? So
you have your own opinion about what kind of source is better and what kind of source is not better in context of Nepal.
Yes.
So would you like to talk more about that?
Absolutely. You say Nepal, I think it comes down to what type of innovation you want to build in Nepal. हैन. अनि त्यसपछि अहिले आएर I think we are very much influenced by यो Silicon Valley type यो novelty tech driven त अरु कुरा पनि हुन्छ हैन, तर त्यो Silicon Valley and Israel type of businesses के हैन, अब like cutting edge हैन, you like disruptive massive like scalable customer base हैन, अनि पड्किन्छ हैन, revenue पनि चाहिँदैन हैन. But that's not the only type of innovation that exists हैन. There's like उनीहरुलाई support गर्ने like prototyping innovation पनि हुन्छ हैन, product design मा innovation पनि हुन्छ. अनि त्यसपछि there's like component innovation पनि हुन्छ. त्यसपछि त्यहाँ production and assembly innovation भनेर पनि हुन्छ हैन. And these are like यो अस्ति लास्ट तिम्रो पडकास्टमा आउनु भएको थियो नि अभिनव खनाल हैन, we talked about the airlines को industry, यो contract manufacturing or globally disruptive globally distributed manufacturing ma some different components come from different places हैन. त्यो पनि that exists in the innovation spectrum as well हैन. जस्तो prototyping गर्नलाई भयो भने maybe like Italy for example is a great place, right? Because त्यहाँ एकदम डिजाइनर दरो छ हैन प्रोटोटाइप गर्नलाई. अहिलेको लग्जरी गुड्सहरु for example most of their prototyping happens in like Italy को like few एउटा दुईटा ठाउँमा हैन. अनि त्यसपछि if you look at like your component manufacturing भयो भने like Taiwan for example, or China is much more ahead in like your component manufacturing. Similar India ko outsourcing companies as well. They're like they've project management राम्रो गर्छन्, like software library राम्रो छन्. And then last one assembly assembly पनि China and Southeast Asia ko companies are very good at this. So हाम्रो नेपालमा what's the type of innovation that we want to develop?
What can be something that we can be really good at? Yes, that we can even go into export.
I think most of the like people are employed here in like direct outsourcing and offshoring businesses, which is like much more like stage 3 type of innovation where it's project management राम्रो छन् हैन. They might have software source code को library राम्रो छन् होला हैन. So that's why I'm saying त्यो Silicon Valley and Israel को त्यो massive disruption त्यो मात्र होइन innovation भने हैन. त्यो life त्यो value chain मा टन्ने छन्. अनि त्यसको लागि there's different capital that should go into the different types of different stages of innovation.
And you have your own good narrative of your development finance को aspect बाट पनि like the money that comes from
are you talking about Larry Fink? अस्ति मैले आर्टिकल एउटा शेयर गरेको थिएँ
त्यो हैन. तिमीले जस्तै for example यो FDI को कन्सर्नमा पनि I think you are watching more for local funds than getting FDIs from your
yeah absolutely because the important thing is your Israel ko issue ma हैन,
same connecting with the same
connecting with Israel ko venture capital ecosystem हैन. Yes, amazing companies हैन, disproportional amount of companies that go into IPO into US को public markets as well. But most of that value is concentrated into either like the founders or the VC firms, typically American VC firms. उनीहरूले त्यो value capture बढी गर्छ because when you're funding these Israeli startups, they don't create much jobs on the ground. Their customer bases are typically globally distributed as well. So the value चाहिँ एकदम सानो मान्छेहरूले मात्र पाउँछन् क्या. And so really like relying on this external venture capital industry to come in here and help our entrepreneurs jump ahead भने चाहिँ अब that might not work, right? Because what we need is we need benefits here. नेपालमा benefits चाहियो नि त.
तर त्यसले बेनिफिटै गर्दैन भन्ने कुरामा त
No, of course not. No.
तर we are talking about the different degree of benefit, opportunity cost उसको कन्टेक्स्टमा. So तिम्रो पर्सेप्सनमा चाहिँ what kind of investment does Nepal really need?
I think we need some patient capital. We do need patient capital, because we talk about the business environment here, which is still very short term. Short term, the trading mentality or the आज भोलि पैसा लिएर 3 महिनामा एकदम double हुनु पर्ने and the young people, I don't think that's how they want to do business. There might be some, but हामी कुरा when you and I talk, we talk about like long-term sustainable businesses. Right?
Yes.
Like strong brands,
Yes.
that can have staying power, that can develop locally, that can grow globally as well. And त्यस्तो मान्छेलाई सपोर्ट गर्न त त्यस्तो खालको क्यापिटल चाहियो त तिम्रो 10 वर्षको सोचाइ छ and how can you go and convince यहाँको high net individual and say हेर मेरो 5 वर्ष 10 वर्षको प्लान छ म एकदम डरो ब्ल्यान्ड बनाउँछु भन्यो भने I would assume it's very difficult, right? He's going to say, give me my money back in 1 year with like 30% interest.
तर त्यही ग्याप चाहिँ यो institutional investorले fill up गरिरहेको जस्तो लाग्दैन कि because these people come with a decade long fund, हैन? जुन चाहिँ जस्तै for example angel investor जुन तिमीले भनेको exampleमा you have one high net worth individuals writing you a check. It is opposite मा चाहिँ institutional investor who come with their own decades long planning जहाँ चाहिँ तिनीहरूको फन्डको म्याच्युरिटी नै 10 वर्षको भइदिन्छ. These are patient investment भन्ने नि हैन र?
Yeah, absolutely. हो अब त्यो आउन थालिरहेको छ नि हैन अब like these funds are DOMA is raising more money BO2 भन्ने छ बाहिरबाट CDC is also itself trying to create its own presence here, right?
TNA भन्ने local fund छ, global fund छ.
TNA को that's because TNA को source of capital
is bank.
I think it must be high net worth individuals and they have a different way of thinking about how to invest. I think they might be more long term. So absolutely, institutional fundहरू आएर they can create that culture. Then for the entrepreneurs out there who want to build these long-term brands, it's great support. So yes.
अर्को एउटा कुरा I think अघिकै क्वेसनसँग जोड्दाखेरि चाहिँ impact investing को वरिपरि कुरा गर्दाखेरिले चाहिँ $1 injected in one business or $1 injected in one business. Business A मा चाहिँ it gives $1 return $2, business B मा चाहिँ it gives $1 return $2 plus impact. त्यो पनि हो नि त हैन?
Absolutely.
तर यहाँ चाहिँ कस्तो पनि पर्सेप्सन छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ impact investment does not give you a high return भन्ने छ एउटा कुरा. तर भोलिको दिनमा चाहिँ यदि हामीले सस्टेनेबलको एस्पेक्टबाट हेर्यौं भने त हैन every business has to have a के भन्छ if now you can't just have a financial $1 to $2 नि त हैन, it has to have something else as well. Else त्यसलाई त सस्टेनेबल भएन या इम्प्याक्ट लेस इन्भेस्टमेन्ट चाहिँ सस्टेनेबल हुन्न भन्ने पनि त कुराहरू सुनिरहेको छौँ नि वरिपरि हैन. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, absolutely. झन् नेपालको जस्तो देशमा त हैन where you have तिमीले बिजनेस मात्र रन गर्न पाउँदैनौ नि त हैन because there's so many other things you have to consider, right? हामी तरुण खन्नाको अस्ति गफ गरेको थियौँ हैन where there's a book I think trust भन्नेमा हैन the entrepreneur in the emerging market can't just create, he has to create the conditions to create and then create as well. So यहाँ अब त्यो इम्प्लोइजहरुको कसरी म्यानेज गर्छौ भनेर होला हैन अस्तिसम्म त लोड शेडिङ हुन्थ्यो एकदमै हैन so you have to consider how do you get a reliable electricity source, right? For example, so because हाम्रो त्यो एकदम nascent business environment and even like ease of doing business Nepalma is what we're like 100 out of like 180 countries or so. So there's a lot of like issues that come up and these impact elements and of you thinking about your stakeholders or you thinking about the various people that are in and around your businesses and how you can take care of them. I think that is impact, you know. And if you care about them and actually co-opt them into your business model, then you might have more staying power. तिमीलाई केही इस्यु आयो कि तिमीलाई केही सक आयो भने हैन you can rely on your community network, your solar power, हैन बत्ती गयो भने solar power छ माथि, so तिम्रो resilience पनि बढ्न सक्छ, right? So I absolutely धन्यवाद जस्तो ठाउँमा I would rather invest in something that can give me $2 and impact rather than just $2, right?
अब यो कुरा चाहिँ हामीले कसरी लाइक हाई नेटवर्क इन्डिभिजुअल चाहिँ इन्भेस्टर्सलाई चाहिँ कसरी बुझाउने कि इम्प्याक्ट इन्भेस्टिङ इज द फ्युचर, इट इज मोस्ट सस्टेनेबल वे अफ डुइङ थिङ्स भनेर चाहिँ कसरी बुझाउनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई, किन भन्दाखेरि कमिङ अगेन फ्रम अ कन्ट्री आई थिङ्क दिस इज द हेभन अफ ट्रेडर्स होइन, बिट्विन टु बिग जायन्ट्स होइन, सो त्यो कन्टेक्समा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क पिपल आर लुकिङ फर क्विक क्यास क्विक रिटर्न्स के, सो तिमीलाई चाहिँ कसरी लाग्छ जस्तै फर इक्जाम्पल कसरी गर्न सकिएला त यो इम्प्याक्ट चाहिँ इम्पोर्टेन्ट हो भनेर कसरी बुझाउने
यो त you probably have a better idea on this than I do, होइन? Yeah, on your information and awareness को कुरा कसरी गर्ने भनेर.
No, but from coming from your perspective, तिम्रो आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्स र तिम्रो थट प्रोसेसमा चाहिँ what do you think about it?
There's we talk about both ends, right? There's on one side there's awareness, and on the other side there's regulation, right? So awareness ko ma, you know, you can communicate it better, right, with your customers if they care about impact, and with your investors. And so there's certain there's a syntax, what you use to communicate this. So you can figure out how to communicate this, and you have to make it objective, right? So KPIs garera verifiable banaera त्यो इन्भेस्टरलाई कसरी यो कुरा बताउने त भनेर ल्याउनु पर्छ. But you need the other side, which is like regulation as well, right? On
impact investing लाई incentivize गर्नु पर्यो,
राम्रो बिजनेस प्र्याक्टिसेस गराउनलाई, हैन त्यो त चाहिन्छ नि त, बिकज तिमी मात्र भलो गरिरहेको छौ, सबैजना झुर गरिरहेको छ भन्दा हैन, you are at a disadvantage, right?
प्लस अर्को एउटा हाम्रो लजिकको कुरा भयो लास्ट टाइम वी वर टकिङ कि इफ वी क्यान समहाउ कन्भिन्स दिस पब्लिक पिपल टु buy shares of these companies who are doing impact, so eventually त्यहाँको स्टेकहोल्डर्सले त डिसिजन गर्न पर्छ होला नि त हैन, द्याट्स हाउ एउटा हर्डलाई नै हामीले कन्भिन्स गर्यो भने चाहिँ
एब्सोल्युटली
सेकेन्डरी मार्केटलाई इन्फ्लुएन्स गर्न.
आई थिङ्क लाइक द इजिएस्ट वे टु स्टार्ट इज ब्याङ्किङ रेगुलेसन. ब्याङ्किङ इन्डस्ट्री त हाम्रो that's what I understand, it's stable, होइन, because the NRB has pretty good regulation on it. But immediately हाइड्रो छ हाम्रो सेक्टर होइन, which is very very prone to a lot of risks, right? There is environmental risk if होइन भूकम्प आयो भने, क्लाइमेट चेन्जले गर्दा फ्लो चेन्ज भयो, पानी बढी पर्यो भयो भने त्यसको लाइफ घट्छ, के हुन्छ. त्यसपछि देयर इज सोसियल रिस्क एज वेल, होइन, इफ हाइड्रो पावरबाट बाढी साडी आएर के भएर मान्छेलाई अफेक्ट गर्यो भने त्यो मान्छे त झगडा गर्न जान्छ, होइन, किन मलाई मेरो खेतबाट पानी पठाइस् or मलाई बिजुली किन दिनुहोस् भनेर. सो आई थिङ्क द्याट द हाइड्रो सेक्टर इज वान एरिया वेयर वी निड रेगुलेसन that can come in, so that investors अलिकति त्यो उद्योस् क्या, so that they can understand what ESG is and how to value it भनेर, इम्प्याक्टको इस्युजहरू, so that when they're, you know, जस्तो स्टक मार्केटमा तिम्रो ड्यासबोर्ड छ होइन, अनि ल तिमी हाइड्रोको सेयर हेरेर छ होइन, ल यसको भ्यालुएसन यति छ, यसको रेभेन्यू यति छ होइन, ल यसको लाइक एनुअल त्यो सेयर होल्डर मिटिङमा यस्तो यस्तो कुरा भयो भनेर. बट यु निड लाइक अ सेगमेन्ट देयर अन लाइक दिज रिस्क एज वेल. यो ESG रिस्क हो होइन, उसको गभर्नेन्स कस्तो छ भइहाल्यो होइन, तर इन्भाइरोमेन्टल रिस्क के छ है, उसको लाइक रिभरको फ्लो कस्तो छ होइन, के चेन्ज भइरहेको छ इयरली, अन्त सोसियल रिस्क के छ, हाउ इज इट
थर्ड पार्टी चाहिए मात्र हो.
एब्सोल्युटली यस्तो कुराहरू चाहियो नि त होइन, सो द्याट यु नो एन इन्भेस्टर लुकिङ एट सेयर मार्केटमा होइन हेर्न सक्छ, एन्ड देन से हेर यो यसको त योभन्दा झुर छ होइन, नेक्स्ट मन्सुनमा वाल पानी परेर ब्राङ ब्लुङ भयो भने त होइन डुब्छ होइन.
So I think we just talked about a new business, right? Someone should come up with a company that does ESG evaluation of different public companies.
Absolutely.
होइन बाहिर होला नि.
Yes, छ एकदमै छ बाहिर. It's exploding this business होइन.
I think हामीले उबाट सुरु गर्नुपर्छ होला त्यसपछि people, because I think ESG को कुरा हाम्रो खासै भएको छैन होइन. We should actually talk about what is ESG, how it is related with impact investing बाट सुरु गर्नुपर्छ होला त्यसपछि. Maybe you would like
yeah.
What is ESG?
अब इम्प्याक्ट भनेर हाम्रो अघि कुरा गरेँ, इट्स स्टिल भेग होइन. अब ESGको जेनेसिस चाहिँ होइन, इट केम फ्रम यो साउथ अफ्रिकाको अपार्थाइड मुभमेन्टमा. अपार्थाइड थियो नि त होइन, वेयर यु नो त्यहाँको साउथ अमेरिकन ब्ल्याक्सहरू वेयर सिस्टमेटिकली kept out of politics, of policies, होइन उनीहरूलाई एकदम त्यो दबाएर राखिरहेको थियो नेल्सन मण्डेलालाई जेल हालिरहेको थियो होइन सो द्याट मुभमेन्ट वाज रियली लाइक कन्स्ट्रेन्ड होइन अनि बट साउथ अफ्रिका डिड ह्याभ स्ट्रङ बिजनेसेस होइन ग्लोबली ओरिएन्टेड कम्पनीहरू पब्लिक मार्केटहरूमा थियो सो लट अफ लाइक ग्लोबल इन्भेस्टर्सहरू चाहिँ दे पुट प्रेसर अन द साउथ अफ्रिकन गभर्मेन्ट बोयकट गरेर क्या म लगानी गर्दिनँ त्यहाँ होइन कि तैँले नेल्सन मण्डेलालाई यिनीहरूलाई अलिकति नर्सुटाएर सपोर्ट गरेन भनेर होइन सो लट अफ पिपल टक अबाउट द्याट एज द जेनेसिस पोइन्ट होइन वेयर ESG इनिसियली केम आउट अफ लाइक अभोइडिङ ब्याड कम्पनीज क्या सो अहिले पनि धेरैजनाहरू त्यस्तै गर्छन् क्या लाइक गन म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ कम्पनीजहरूबाट डाइभेस्ट गर्छन् होइन दे डोन्ट इन्भेस्ट इन दोज कम्पनीज यो प्रिजनहरू म्यानेज गर्ने कम्पनीजहरू हुन्छ युएसमा होइन प्राइभेट प्रिजनहरू त्यसबाट दे अभोइड द्याट अहिले आएर एकदम यो ओइल एन्ड ग्यास सेक्टर क्लाइमेट चेन्जलाई कन्ट्रिब्युट गर्ने भनेर त्यसबाट दे आर लाइक डाइभेस्टिङ होइन सो द्याट वाज द इनिसियल फेजेस अफ ESG होइन वेयर युर सेइङ we're going to minimize risk, all these bad businesses, these things that are not helpful for the world, we're going to move out of it. Now they're thinking about like positive attributes. Okay? How can we? So we're taking money away from the bad guys. किनभने तिमीले नराम्रो कम्पनीमा लगानी गरेन भने त उसको कस्ट अफ क्यापिटल अलिकति हाई जान्छ सो उसलाई अलिकति असर पर्छ होइन is how do you kind of move into positive whereas राम्रो गरिएको कम्पनीहरूलाई कसरी पैसा दिने कसरी लगानी गर्ने टेस्ला फर एक्जाम्पल होइन टेस्लाको त एकदम धेरै नै छ कथाहरू but how do you like now reward the guys that are doing well because once you kind of invest like money with them it lowers their cost of capital so there's a lot of benefits there's like more halo effect भनेर हुन्छ so it's moved from that avoiding to now like positive, right? So that's maybe how like the ESG landscape in public markets has evolved.
So अब चाहिँ जस्तै फर इक्जाम्पल तर I think ESG को चाहिँ यति हामीले ESG लाई एकदमै डिमिस्टिफाई गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ चाहिँ इन्भाइरोमेन्टल भयो सो कुनै पनि कम्पनीले चाहिँ यति आफ्नो इन्भाइरोमेन्टल साइड अफ इम्प्याक्ट्सहरूलाई या इन्भाइरोमेन्टल साइड अफ इफेक्ट्सहरूलाई चाहिँ ख्याल गरेको छैन भने चाहिँ त्यसमा परेन अर्को भनेको सोसल भयो सोसलमा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क मोर अफ अ जेन्डरको कुरा पऱ्यो
होइन it's how you employees you take care of your employees as well होइन उनीहरूको हेल्थलाई you support them होइन so how do you nurture your employees भनेर
या जेन्डर ब्यालेन्स छ कि छैन होइन मेल एन्ड फिमेल
diversity छ कि छैन exactly
या नट जस्ट विथ जेन्डर अल्सो रेस पनि होइन त्यो चाहिँ सोसल भयो अनि जी भनेको चाहिँ गभर्नेन्स भयो आर यु अलाइन विथ द जुन देशमा तिमी काम गरेर आएको छौ त्यो देशको पोलिसीहरूसँग चाहिँ तिमी अलाइन छौ कि छैनौ सो ESG सो अहिलेको तिमीले भने अनुसार संसारै ESG तिर गइरहेको छ अनि मोर कम्पनीज आर गेटिङ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट मोर कम्पनीज आर ग्रोइङ इन दिस वर्टिकल हु आर compatible to ESG.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It helps you raise money. It helps you get more business contracts, right? So there is much more trend along this line.
So, Timi, just for example, now relating it back to your experience, both of the experience of on both sides, giving money and raising money, and coming back to Nepal. And maybe I think as a hardcore networker back in US, you must have met with a lot of potential people here in this country. So, timro observation, where do you find yourself here? Where do you find Nepal in ESG understanding?
I think it still needs to mature. This you need more sophistication.
Mature top level मा कि bottom level मा कि mid level मा कि चारैतिर
I think in a lot of aspects हैन एउटा त businesses को pipeline पनि राम्रो हुनुपर्छ हैन so we starting from that aspect right how do you get better quality businesses that translates
to better quality businesses
that हामीले अहिले कुरा गर्यौं नि 1 रुपैयाँ दियो भने 2 रुपैयाँ पनि कमाउँदैन तर एउटा इम्प्याक्ट पनि के गर्न छ हैन that's not only like early stage businesses but also corporates so we mentioned on entrepreneurship again so corporate sectors भित्र पनि हैन there needs to be like much higher quality business activities that maybe there's like parallel business activities where one is 2 रुपैयाँ कमाइरहेछ हैन तर अर्को एउटा बिजनेस एक्टिभिटी छ 2 रुपैयाँ कमाइरहेछ तर पोजिटिभ पनि गरिरहेछ so we need the big businesses हैन to grow those positive sides of their revenues so त्यसको लागि there is still yet to be done I think from in the early stage businesses on the side there's more momentum because there are these private equity funds of Doma and Want to Watch and PO2 and now C1 that are finding quality businesses and quality young entrepreneurs to partner with and to push these ideas ahead. Corporates sector, I don't think it's come yet because disclosure aako chaina. I think investors capital markets त्यस्तो सोचा छैनन् अहिले हैन from what I understand हैन अब एक वर्षमा वाट स्टक मार्केट बढ्यो सो उनीहरु सबैजना खुसी छन् हैन performance is not really doesn't seem like it's that important अहिले हैन so it's slowly changing. I see more like angel networks like developing अहिले because बाहिर पनि some of that impetus also came from मैले भने नि it came from like foundations and family offices क्या बाहिरतिर पनि यो इम्प्याक्टको कुराहरु सुरुमा त उनीहरुले फिलान्थ्रोपी दिन्थे त उनीहरुले पैसा दिन्थे हैन and then they figured okay पैसा मात्र किन दिने बरु let's like try to incentivize sustainable business models भनेर हैन so यहाँ पनि त्यस्तै सोच आउनु पर्यो where people are like thinking philanthropy त दिन चाहिँ पर्छ यहाँ हैन तर like okay can I like move that into empowering sustainable businesses corporates have to think that in terms of their CSR activities right tax rebate or tax benefit la matra CSR is how do I kind of use that to make my regular business activities more sustainable that I think is baki cha haina त्यस्तो खालको sophistication आउनलाई
so now relate ESG and impact
so impact भनेको चाहिँ I'll talk from an investor's perspective is impact outcome might determine your investment decision हैन मैले यसबाट बढी impact पाएँ भने म यसमा लगानी गर्छु rather than this company right ESG मा चाहिँ त्यस्तो खालको sophistication आछ छैन क्या you're just using perhaps like your new type of environmental, social, and governance metrics to uncover more risks in a corporate, long-term risks. And so your decision might still be the financial decision, but you're using ESG to uncover like the risks that are around those companies. Whereas impact investing, like I said, your decision is based on whether one company or business activity might create more impact than another.
And how do these people identify these metrics to judge कि यसबाट बेसी impact यसबाट कम impact यसबाट impact छैन of course impact छैन भनेर त we can see it for ourselves हैन त then how do we judge these impacts त्यसको metrics चाहिँ के हो on a country like ours जहाँ चाहिँ data को त कुरै छोड्दिउँ
एकदम this becomes एकदम an academic conversation हैन if you go this direction हैन किनभने त्यो एकदम त्यो यहाँ डेभलपमेन्ट सेक्टरले काम गर्छ नि मोनिटरिङ एन्ड इभ्यालुएसन गर्छ एउटा प्रोजेक्ट गरेपछि हैन दे गो देयर अनि एक वर्ष 2 वर्ष लागेर त्यो रिपोर्टिङ गर्छ सर्वे गर्छ हैन इन्टरभ्यु गर्छ अनि त्यसपछि रिपोर्ट निकाल्छ नि सो that is actually the best potentially one way to understand impact that deep impact तर there is like lean data ko kura huncha haina where okay are there impact metrics that you can tie in with KPIs or KPI nai that give you some sense of business operations and impact so your lean data le garda herma chai especially for younger companies haina because like the long business पनि चलाइरा छु अब त मलाई एउटा यत्रो सर्वे पनि गर भनिराछ कहाँ पैसा छ बसँग दुईटै गरेर गर्नलाई हैन कहाँ सर्वे गरेर राख्ने म so उनीहरुलाई चाहिँ there is I think much newer ways and you can get outside help to help think about this how do you align your company's operations and impact outcome into like KPIs so that you're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone
nice I think very well defined
good duita la
so now that you are back in Nepal हैन तिमीलाई गर्न चाहिँ के मन छ
I think it's still it's impact, right?
Okay.
How do you define impact? I'm like young. We're the same age, So we have financial ambitions as well,
definitely.
Right? But we're still driven. We have some impact goals as well, right? And I realized I can't do the same thing I used to do there. I can't participate in one location to value chain को एउटा लोकेसनमा बसेर हैन ल पैसा दिन्छु म होइन ल म यसमा एउटा डिसिजन बनाएर यहाँदेखि यहाँ पैसा हाल्छु त्यस्तो गर्न अलि मिल्दैन रहेछ यहाँ होइन you can but it's not you don't meet the right type of individuals I think
true
यहाँ आएर मैले अब कुराकानी गर्दाखेरि the people that that I could relate to and talk about impact about doing something meaningful about long-term sustainable business models are typically people in like the technology sector or young people some kind of technology enabled businesses and I figured that's where I need to be.
That's why you are working for Deerhold.
Yeah. So Deerhold is it's an outsourcing company, they do like software, web development, app development. म चाहिँ त्यहाँ आएर finance को नयाँ segment सुरु गरेर छु So how can we do the same thing that Deerhold has done for other segments? They do a lot in healthcare, and I think there's a lot of companies here that do focus on US healthcare, but financial segments चाहिँ गरेछ financial segment like outsourcing गर्नलाई. So that's an entry point for me. In the meantime, I've also kind of worked with businesses on the side, to figure out how I can help them. I'm also working as a senior fellow for your Nepal Economic Forum, which is a think tank. And त्यहाँ चाहिँ अलिकति digitization को कुराहरू ल्याउन खोजिरहेको छु. Not like in a kind of a little bit multidisciplinary way. How do you think about technology, policy, innovation, business models, privacy? So त्यो कुराहरू लेख्न सिक्न खोजिरहेको छु मान्छेहरूलाई तानेर ल्याउन खोजिरहेको छु and I'm realizing Nepalमा you have to kind of do that. You have to kind of put your hands in a little bit, maybe a couple of things, because you can't just create, right? You have to create the conditions to create, right?
कतिको फ्रस्ट्रेट भएको छ नेपाल आएपछि
yeah, there are frustration त छ एकदम
कस्तो कुराहरुमा if I can ask
again बाहिरतिर you're very narrowly focused on a specific industry जस्तो म यो मेरो फंक्सन यहाँ म त्यो इन्डस्ट्रीको यो भ्यालु चेनमा यहाँ गरी यस्तो ठाउँमा गएर छिर्छु निस छ म यहाँ यो गर्छु and your life is defined, right? Where 95 हुन्छ काम गर्यो गाडी चढ्यो घरमा बस्यो विकेन्डमा रमाइलो गर्यो here none of that aligns none of that makes sense where
plus point or minus point
I don't know, you have to take it positively त्यो हुँदै हुँदैन त्यहाँको त्यो स्ट्रक्चर छँदै छैन where your work as well is not 9 to 5 you have to participate and work every other time Saturday Sunday पनि 3-4 वटा कुरा गर्नुपर्छ your like work doesn't end on Friday at 5 o'clock it's your family, so it has your own dynamics where you're not living in a city by yourself so and because it's that industries of sophistication you are confused म कहाँ जाउँ त भने नि like I came here I thought okay the private equity space is the ideal place for me to go but that didn't seem like it because it's very different type of people. Okay?
Did you met people?
Yeah. So they think they think very differently. I think like पैसा दिने सोचाइ छ the private equity industry as opposed to like working with the entrepreneur operationally उलाई तानेर ल म तँलाई मर्न तयार छु भनेर त्यस्तो खालको private equity strategies आएको छैन यहाँ
ल्याउनु पर्यो यार ब्रो तिमीले कसरी
त्यस्तो खालको ल्याउनु पर्यो
because I think there are very few people who come back to level of opportunity पाएर नेपालमा
so that I think does exist अब यस्तो मेरो एजका मान्छेहरुसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरिमा they have started like pooling investments
कहाँबाट
50 जना हैन आफ्नै एक अर्काको बीच 50 जना 100 जना मिलेर like एकजनाले 1 लाख हालेर 10 लाख 20 लाख 50 लाख हालेर and then they invest in businesses and these guys like they work full time and then they do this so there is at like a underlying level people who are trying to do these type of things अनि तिम्रो पनि छ होला तिम्रो पनि 4-5 वटा बिजनेसमा छ इन्भल्भमेन्ट so I think people here are ready for that त्यो institutional structure आइसकेको छैन but I think people are ready to do that
अनि तर कसैलाई थाहा पनि छैन कि यो institutional structure यो void नै छ कि institutional void नै छ कि I think यो तरन खन्नाको बुकमा पनि भन्छ कि these emerging markets lack your institutional void they don't have institutional basically there is a void अनि त्यसले गर्दा फेरि चाहिँ generally SMEs हरु भन्दा पनि conglomerates हरु grow हुन्छ because they already have risk capital they already have access to law, they have access to smart people हैन अनि त्यो क्याश बन्द गर्न सक्ने चान्सेस हुन्छ नि त त्यही भएर पनि we see नेपालको इन्डियाको या एसियन कन्ट्रीजमा conglomerates are on to like सोध्नुपर्छ एउटा बिग कङ्ग्लोमरेट कुन बिजनेसमा छैन भनेर हैन अनि त्यो कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ त्यो राम्रो हो कि नराम्रो मलाई थाहा छैन डेफिनेटली नराम्रो होला भोइड हुनु हैन तर फेरि एउटा पर्सपेक्टिभबाट हेर्दाखेरि कङ्ग्लोमरेट्सहरू बुम भएको छ ग्रो भएको छ तर अर्को पर्सपेक्टिभबाट हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ धेरै एसएमइजहरू भएनन् हैन एउटा कुनै एसएमइ सुरु गर्दै पनि आई थिंक कङ्ग्लोमरेट्सले खाइदिन्छ त्यसलाई हैन अनि अर्को कुरा मैले हेर्दा फेरि चाहिँ फर एक्जाम्पल सर्भिसलाई रेस्पेक्ट छैन त्यसले गर्दा फेरि चाहिँ पिपल लाइक अस यु एन्ड मी जो ग्रेजुएट भइसकेपछि उसले आफ्नो सर्टन पोइन्ट उसले पाउनुपर्ने स्यालेरी स्याचुरेसनमा पुगिसक्छ द ओन्ली वे फर हिम इज टु वेदर गो इन्टु अ ट्रेडिङ बिजनेस or go outside where his man hour will be respected त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि I think good servicemen are not staying long run नेपालमा because त्यो एउटा saturation point चाहिँ चाँडै हिट हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ कि अनि I think these are so many problems from so many different vertical and horizontals अनि at times I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't want to swim up the river as well, हैन meaning त्यो issuesहरु छन् त्यस्तो businessesहरु छन् it might be there's a difference between them and us generationally पनि हुन्छ होला हैन politically पनि गाह्रो छ हैन like you said and we can't make the assumption that that's going to change because we've looked last conversation we had like Korea and Japan these two business structures still exist right where your chaebols and your kiretsus or the big business houses still dominate so the SME segment there is like don't like
slow
and it's only those big guys right so we can't discount the fact that Nepal that's the future for Nepal we can't discount that they own something sakla हैन
म चाहिँ त्यसमा किन डिसएग्री गर्छु
but we have to create a different narrative yes I know
म चाहिँ like just to I like to add my narrative म चाहिँ त्यसमा किन डिसएग्री गर्छु भन्दा फेरि चाहिँ जापानको तिमीले एभरेज एज हेर्यो र नेपालको एभरेज एज हेर्यो भने we have 70% of the population are under 30 हैन so तिमी र म we are a representation of what the country is like so मलाई कस्तो लाग्छ भन्दा फेरि यदि हामीले इम्प्याक्ट इन्भेस्टिङको कुरा गरेर छौँ लङ टर्मको कुरा गरेर राखेको छौँ हैन if you and I can agree to one point and if we look forward for next 10 years and if we just work I think that's where we are creating a new history a new future we don't have to be like कि नेपालमा यस्तै भइरहेको थियो यस्तै हुन्छ भनेर के कब यस्तै हुन्छ जब तिम्रो र मेरो एजको मान्छेहरु यस्तै भइरहेको थियो र यस्तै हुनु पर्छ भनेर त्यही स्टेप्सहरु एक्जिक्युट गर्यो भने यस्तै नै हुने भयो तर तिम्रो र मेरो एजको मान्छे चाहिँ if we disagree and if we disagree onto a traditional approach and agree to a newer approach and actually execute that for next 10 years I think we can change this country future just like
absolutely I know but this maybe some of the decisions we might have to make is what kind of game do we want to play do we want to play the same game that some of the existing players are playing where they have first mover advantages they have the capital they have power or do we want to play a different game I know. So I think for our generation, we need to change the rules of the game.
True, definitely.
Like tech-enabled businesses, I think, allow you to do that. Right?
Yes.
The other aspect I said is the international connections. Whether it's for clients, it's for capital, it's for like operational support, whatever. Right. I think the fallacy will be to think even though यहाँको बिजनेसहरु हाम्रो एजका केटाकेटीहरु they might feel excited. And say ल हैन म लड्न सक्छु हैन म पलेजमा नि लाएर लड्न सक्छु भने I don't know what the outcome will be so the reason kind of why I also will pivot it is because I want to play by different set of rules I don't want to play with rules that are stacked against me
exactly
where I know हार्छु कि एकदम गाह्रो हुन्छ भनेर so I think so far I've been here for a few months about a year I'm still trying to figure out okay what are the different rules I can play by
so what are the rules you have like
and the rules I don't want to play by no
anything that you have identified so far
again it's the tech enabled space it's the connections to outside so like I said Deerhold is it's headquartered above Ruter Dai Bairazan, he has different kind of his clients and he's outside. He's Mansira. Companies I think they need those type of advantages and you need that rules. Those different rules again. Whether you can go to Singapore can you incorporate, can you get external clients? Can you bring in FDI? Can you bring in like high quality operators who've worked in Fortune 500 companies for like 10 20 years, होइन. We need those. I don't think यहाँ बसेर म त्यहाँ
कस्तो big dream भयो त्यो चाहिँ.
I don't know. I don't think it is. It's very like small interventions. Movement at capital, for example. There's some अहिले.
त्यो फेरि policy level को कुरा भयो कि which you and I don't know what can we do about it rather than just talking about it.
Or we need friends. We need friends, right? We need people who are broad. And there are a lot of NRNs outside. There are people who have studied outside. Personal relationships हुन्छ, business relationships होला. Whatever allows Nepalis to look outside of Nepal, I think we have to look at those rules and those advantages. यहाँभित्र गएर त्यही रुल्समै चल्न खोज्छु भने I think it's going to be very difficult.
Interesting. हुन त बाहिर हेरेर पनि eventually lasting rules चाहिँ we have to localize the rules and create the new set of rules for our own. And I think we can do that because I think we are the future of this country, not just in a very metaphorical way, but then even if you look at the population, majority नै यही उमेरको मान्छे छन् हैन. I think we just need for this same age people who are agreeing on some broader context, okay, so that at least different vertical मा भयो नि we are marching towards the same north star हुन्छ नि.
Absolutely. छैन त्यो के गर्ने,
कसरी गर्ने होला त?
Well, we are still a diverse country, and now we're like 771, so there is a diversity embedded there. So we can't, I don't think we can't discount that, एउटै vision चाहिन्छ भनेर I think it will be difficult, right? But this is where you probably have to educate me and others about what those visions can be. किनभने हाम्रो मैले त यतिकै data set पाउँदिन हैन. Probably you and others who have at least engagement and have a pulse, maybe have a better pulse about people in our age. You might be better placed to explain to us this is the direction that people are thinking.
मैले त अब अस्ति तिमीसँग भनिरहेको थिएँ नि, this is something I repeat with a lot of people that I met ever since I've known this guy called Tarun Khanna and watched couple of his videos and read few of his articles. उसले चाहिँ अब इमर्जिङ मार्केटको कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ त्यही दुईटै कुरा भनेको छ कि एउटा चाहिँ अवेरनेस, एउटा चाहिँ पोलिसी हैन. फर इक्जाम्पल म कुपोडामा बस्छु, पुल्चोकमा भाडुटिनी छ, पुल्चोकमा गएर भाडुटिनमा गएर मैले इफ आई क्यान बाई ए प्रोडक्ट द्याट इज अवेरनेस कि मैले खोजेको प्रोडक्ट छ एन्ड इफ आई क्यान कम ब्याक सेफली टु माई प्लेस, कसैले मलाई लुट्दैन मार्दैन भने चाहिँ त्यो पोलिसी स्ट्रङ छ भन्ने कुरा हो. अब आई डु नट नो हाउ क्यान आई इम्प्याक्ट पोलिसी फास्ट, मतलब एउटा क्लियर डिरेक्सनमा, तर आई हेभ भेरी क्लियर आइडिया कि वाट वी क्यान डु टुवर्ड्स अवेरनेस हैन. अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ अवेरिङ थ्रु कन्टेन्ट, अवेरिङ थ्रु सोसल प्लेटफर्म्स. अनि मलाई कस्तो लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि one of the best thing that has happened to this country is internet. Even if this politician or any stakeholders on a power do not want to decentralize a lot of things because that's how they are making money, I think they have to give up because internet is already here. And decentralization is already here, and I think they cannot stop internet. So त्यो context मा चाहिँ I'm very, अनि मलाई अर्को मेरो opinion कस्तो लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ internet is a virus. The way one virus evolve in your body is very different from the way it will evolve in my body. So country taking a metaphor कि यो देश एउटा body हो, internet एउटा virus हो, यो virus इन्डियामा जसरी evolve भयो नेपालमा त्यसरी evolve हुनुपर्छ भन्ने छैन कि. It can have its own evolution, and in the next 10 years people in MIT can study a case study कि internet as a virus को यो नेपालमा कसरी evolve भयो र नेपालको local problem कसरी solve गर्यो हैन. अनि I am very much high on an idea कि with the content, some strategies, data and social media, if we can combine it together, I think awareness can be, we can definitely change at least the vertical of awareness in 4 to 5 years.
And you have very specific ideas on नेपालबाट काठमाडौँ urban centric मात्र हुनु भएन हामी हैन. We have to expand and go out भनेर हैन. So you have certain ideas. I think we might differ there हैन, त्यो viability of reaching those base of the pyramid को customers हरु भनेर है.
तर म चाहिँ अब कसरी नै हेर्न खोजिरहेको छु भन्दाखेरि हो, for a pretty long amount of time we have been dividing यो देशको population as urban and rural के. But then ever since मैले त्यो एउटा पिरामिडको एक्सेस पाएँ मैले र डेटाको, त्यहाँ जहाँ चाहिँ एज वाइज छ कि हैन. सो म्याक्सिमम नम्बर अफ पिपल आर अगेन अन्डर 30 हैन. सो म चाहिँ अब कुन एस्पेक्ट अफ डिभिजनमा जान खोजिरहेको छु कि यो ग्रुप अफ एजको मान्छेले यस्तो सोच्छ, यो ग्रुप अफ एजको मान्छेले यस्तो सोच्छ, यो ग्रुप अफ एजको मान्छेले यस्तो सोच्छ, रिगार्डलेस अफ देयर अर्बन अर रुरल, एटलिस्ट केही न केही चाहिँ प्यारलल हुन्छ होइन. सो एउटा पर्सपेक्टिभबाट के सोच्न सकिन्छ भन्दाखेरि 70% अफ द पपुलेसन इज एटलिस्ट थिङ्किङ इन वान डिरेक्सन. They are open about things, at least compared to the older generation. You know, they want to try new things. They are willing to adopt technology, unlike the older generation. So I think there are already few parallels. Junma chahi, I as someone who is working in Kathmandu, you know, has a similar interest here, desire with maybe someone in Mugu with my own age, with my age. You know, so मैले चाहिँ यो urban rural भन्दा पनि यो age specific बाट हेरिरहेको छु हैन. अनि now the targeting, the marketing, the psychological aspect, the way to reach them becomes so much simpler because now I have categorized them as 70% and 30%. हैन बुझिरहेको मैले भन्नु खोजेको. सो त्यो एस्पेक्टमा चाहिँ त्यही नै हो कि अब मोनेटाइजेसन नै ट्रिकी पार्ट हो हैन. I just have to find a way to make money out of it. I think that's where we differ. My idea of monetization is helping brands to connect, reaching out to an audience, and your idea is Anup, you would not be able to stay unbiased if you are incorporating different brands. You know?
Right, because some of it is your business model is advertising led, I know.
True.
Where if you can, target specific advertising for the age group and maybe whatever other segment like you can monetize that too, right? But you have to rely on getting a lot of kind of detailed data about who they are, what they're doing, and timi ta aba tyaha ta jaile pani more is always better, right? You always want more and more data about who these people are and what they do, how they think, how they behave. Tyaha chai where we differ alikati philosophically is because I value my independence, I think. So privacy ko kuroma haina, I stay kind of low key on the internet as much as possible because I don't want the content in social media platforms to influence me as much. And my hope is that Nepalma pani mancheharu are not that easily influenced because I think that's another important thing where we do agree on is mancheलाई एकदम त्यो independence ल्याउनु पर्यो, agency ल्याउनु पर्यो भनेर भन्छ नि. They need to figure out what they want, how to go get it. भनेर भेडा जस्तो मात्र भएर भएन. So I am very much for privacy rights and एकदम high independent rights. And I think our business model based purely on advertising will kind of might be perhaps perverted towards getting even and more data out of the individuals because your revenue stream is based on more and more advertising, right? So instead of perhaps delivering services, for example, and where you might make money from the service, is about okay, how do I advertise the right thing to get them to do what I want, and then surveillance economy. So that's what I hope. That's not the path I want Nepali people to go towards.
Definitely. And I think that's a there is a big discussion even in my own head ki privacy versus privilege. I know. Just for example, if I keep my location on मेरो मोबाइलमा हैन, it will give me a backlog of the places that I have been to, and it will suggest me कि तेरो interest अनुसार यो सोच्दा there are other best areas you can hop into. So त्यो कि I just want to do it on my own. I don't want to share my data with Google's. And I think अबको 21st century मा चाहिँ we as a human being has to find our own balance, our own thin line कि मेरो लागि कुन privacy हो कुन privilege हो भनेर. I think that's two level of education चाहिँ चाहियो. Again फेरि त्यस्तो गर्नलाई चाहिँ awareness चाहियो.
Yes हामीले यसको बारेमा कुरै गर्नै पर्छ हैन. I absolutely agree.
So त्यो context मा चाहिँ I think we can do another podcast around this.
Oh, त्यो चाहिँ अब maybe for next time, right?
Definitely.
We haven't explored it that much, I think.
But I think the best part is, like when I get to meet people like you, and you challenge ideas, and that makes me think. मेरोमा चाहिँ एउटा तिमीसँग last time conversation गरेपछि चाहिँ मेरो दिमागमा के आएको छ भन्दाखेरि, though I'm pretty much straightforward आफ्नो कुरामा चाहिँ हैन, तर मलाई चाहिँ rather than working with maybe FMCG product who are more into consumerism, consumer, I should focus my advertising model towards more service in niche product, like for example, let's say banking, who want consumerism भन्दा पनि त्यो सर्भिस लेभलमा गयो नि त, equipping people with more newer technologies and newer services. So त्यसरी चाहिँ मैले म सोच्न बाध्य भएँ लास्ट टाइम हाम्रो कन्भर्सेसन अनि त्यो भयो भने त डेफिनेटली वी आर नट इन्करेजिङ पिपल टु गो एन्ड बाई दिस प्रोडक्ट विच विल मेक यु लुक गुड या भनौँ न यताउता कन्ज्युमरिजममा पुस गरेन नि त त्यो एफएमसिजी प्रोडक्टहरूको नै पुस गरेर यही खा भनेर होइन देन मोर इन्टु अ सर्भिस साइड जहाँ चाहिँ institution जस्तै फर इक्जाम्पल चाहिँ वर्किङ विथ सम वालेट कम्पनीज टु इन्टिग्रेट डिजिटल एक्सेस डिजिटल फाइनेन्सिङ होइन आई थिङ्क द्याट्स हाउ लास्ट कन्भर्सेसनबाट चाहिँ मेरो दिमागमा आएको चेन्जेस चाहिँ थियो एन्ड आई रियली एप्रिसिएट
हामीले यो सुनिरहेको छौँ नि इज द रेमिटेन्स मनी द्याट कम्स बाहिरबाट होइन ओभर द पास्ट फर 5 years 10 years होइन अब कि जग्गामा गइरहेछ होइन कि कन्जम्सनमा गइरहेछ होइन सो क्यापिटल फर्मेसनको कुरा गर्छौँ होइन क्यापिटल फर्मेसन भइरहेछ अलिअलि तर त्यो रियल स्टेट सेक्टरमा मात्र भइरहेछ सेभिङमा गएको छैन होइन सो मेबी द फिनटेक at least revolution, quote unquote, that has happened in Nepal over the past 5 years, where a lot of these payment service providers have come out, payment service operators have come out, so I'm at the base level infrastructure the boniracha ni ani त्यसबाट I absolutely agree is we need those guys to expand their capabilities so that Nepaliहरूलाई they think about not just consumption consumption immediate pleasure भयो नि त
exactly high dopamine
absolutely towards something that can help them think about their goals, their life goals, their long-term goals, savings ma, loan ma, business linalai and that I think goes into again thinking about long-term sustainability and sustainable businesses in Nepal ani I think it's happening where some of these wallet companies are introducing instant loans, for example. If you have a salary and you pay if you like the salary को तिम्रो 6 महिनाको हिस्ट्री छ भने होइन तिमीलाई 2 लाख यतिकै दिन्छ होइन सो आई थिङ्क इट्स स्टार्टिङ आई डोन्ट नो हाउ द प्रेजेन्स इज बाहिर काठमाडौँ बाहिर कस्तो छ थाहा छैन बट द्याट इज एब्सोल्युटली वाट वी निड एन्ड वी निड टु लाइक रियली पुश फर यो रिजिलियन्स नेपालीहरूको अलिकति बढाउनु पऱ्यो होइन टु गेट देम टु थिङ्क अबाउट अदर देन जस्ट कन्जम्सन होइन अनि इफ दे थिङ्क अबाउट सेभिङ प्रडक्ट्स इफ यु क्यान अनु तिमीले होइन नेपालको सेभिङ रेटलाई होइन 10% बढाइदियो भने त होइन भोलिपल्ट गएर तिमी ब्याङ्कबाट लोन लिन पाउँछौ
द्याट्स नाइस आइडिया हाउ डु आई डु द्याट
पाइहाल्छ नि होइन अवेरनेस गरेर होइन अनि द्याट क्यापिटल फर्मेसन क्यान give more capital to the banks, help us think much more long term. So I think that revolution is in front of us rather than behind us. And there's a lot to learn from India and sub-Saharan Africa, East Africa, especially in Bangladesh.
So are we in next 20-30 years, will this generation, or will this generation will have more legends than ever before in our history, because we have few legends, होइन खतरा legends, तर they are very few जस्तो लाग्छ कि हुन्छ नि एउटा कन्ट्रीको कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ सो तिमी र म जस्तो अरू यङ्गर जेनेरेसनहरू what if we can do some big changes नेपालको लागि अनि 20-30 years down the line we are legends and our name would be written on social studies and people will be talking and studying about this
त्यो गोल चाहिँ छैन होइन मेरो त्यस्तै गर्नै पर्छ भनेर गोल छैन I think what we need to think about is a thresh or के भन्छ collective के भन्छ tipping point जस्तो चाहिन्छ होला क्या where we need enough of people of our age who are moving towards some north star अनि collectively नै हामीले यस्तो कुराहरू अगाडि बढाउने हो so individually म यो मान्छे त्यो मान्छे 10 जना भयो भने I don't think that is a good enough goal and I think it ties to again your innovation को stages मैले भनेको थिएँ नि how we think about it where that Silicon Valley and Israel model of novelty is based on these individuals भनौँ न like हाम्रो Virgin Galactic अनि Bezos अनि Musk अहिले भगवानै भयो नि त उनीहरू होइन I don't think that is a viable future like few मान्छेहरू
emerging market key for worldwide
well like for Nepal भनौँ न होइन where like few मान्छेहरू पढाउने होइन no we want like I think a mass of people of our age to come up and then SME कै कुरा गर्दाखेरिमा to create these high quality businesses होइन and त्यसपछि उनीहरू if they can go the next step
it's up to them
so
तिमीले भन्न खोजेको चाहिँ rather than creating couple of businesses into 1000x let's create thousands of businesses into 100x
yes because हाम्रो त्यो छैन मैले भने नि like क्यापिटल बाहिरबाट ल्याउनु पनि गाह्रो छ यहाँबाट लगाउनु पनि बाहिर छ होइन क्रस बोर्डर बिजनेस गर्न कस्तो कि धौधौ हुन्छ होइन so even if we can take that then give them the chance to go for the moonshot ones, isn't it?
Okay.
So I think ours is going to be still the first battle.
So कतै I don't know, maybe मैले एउटा wrong meaning निकाल्यो होला. कतै sky is the limit भनेर सोच्नु भएन हामीले. हामी यो जेनेरेसनको नेपाली सानो सोच्नु पर्यो, त्यसलाई अचिभ गर्नु पर्यो.
No, sky is the limit पनि चाहिन्छ. It's किन नगर्ने, गर्नै पर्यो नि हैन.
अनि त्यो थर्ड लेभललाई
But it has to be different rules. Okay, we have to our rules should be different. We should think about, again, incorporating in other countries, for example, bringing in talent and capital from the global marketplace, having access to the global marketplace. Once we can do that, then we can think about, moonshot goals, perhaps, right?
So, are you available for pro bono consulting for entrepreneurs who are watching us?
Hey, of course, yeah. This is what I want. This is what I was doing for the past few months in Nepal as well. Of connecting with like-minded people and thinking about how can we build long-lasting businesses. Maybe finance कुरा गर्न सक्छु होला, strategy को अलिअलि कुरा गर्न सक्छु होला, law को अलिकति support गर्न सक्छु होला. But that's exactly what we need to do. We need to help people collaborate with one another. And you think about what can we do 5-10 years that can create very strong brands and businesses. So that's absolutely what I want to do.
So what is the easiest way to reach you out? LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, not that active. LinkedIn. Maybe there's a way I can share my email address as well.
So maybe the email address and LinkedIn account हामी तल description मा राख्दिन्छौँ.
Absolutely.
And for entrepreneurs to be entrepreneurs and people are already doing business and looking for new rules, you definitely have to talk with someone who has played different rules outside the country.
I
think he's definitely the right guy.
Yeah.
I know. And pro bono for a couple of hours.
Absolutely.
So मेरो couple of हामी almost हाम्रो last तिर आइसकेको छौँ हैन. अनि lately I have पहिला चाहिँ मैले यो Tim Ferriss भन्ने this guy, you must have heard of him हैन. अनि Lex Fridman भन्ने is another guy हैन, he's a Russian guy. So उहाँको दुईटा गर्छु. So even before that, last question for the podcast saying, because a lot of our audiences are young people, they say young so still our population is young, our viewers are young, and 40% of our viewers are from US, Australia, UK, Canada, West. So what would you like to suggest to people staying in Nepal, to people outside? They desperately want to come back, but I think they don't have a very clear perspective of what is happening in Nepal, because whenever they ask for people, entrepreneurs, homegrown entrepreneurs, they might get a different perspective. But I think you are the right kind of a guy to get perspective. Should we come back or not? Should you take more time? Should there be a more safety net if we are even planning to come back? And so give two advice, two different chunk of people. One who are staying in Nepal, who might be, who aspire to go outside, or who want to stay in Nepal and do something, rather try entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, or one group of people. The other group of people, I am asking you, your advice is people who are outside, who are willing to come, or who are confused. So what would that be?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with the second one. People who are outside that are thinking of coming back, right? Because मैले यो गरिन के गर्नु पर्ने रहेछ भनेर, which is start reaching out and engaging, right? Because people like us and who are doing these work and trying to change things, because sometimes we might get sucked into the broader macro picture of what's happening in Nepal, which is not positive. COVID le gardaharma, perhaps negative news comes up primarily. True. So पहिला त के भइराछ भने you have to reach out. I didn't do enough of that. And
Doers थिएन
थाहा नै थिएन. So because there are high quality people, there are people who think in terms of can we build sustainable long term businesses भनेर यस्तो सोच्ने मान्छेहरु छन्, यहाँ नयाँ कुरा गर्ने मान्छेहरु छन्, पार्टनरशिप नयाँ गरौँ भनेर छन्, and I think I was in the dark. I didn't do that enough. So people who are thinking of coming back, start doing that, and start maybe thinking about concrete steps. म आएर यस्तो यस्तो गर्न सक्छु भनेर. The people who are here is I don't think it's a disservice to tell them not consider going outside. म गए आए, दुईचोटि गए आए, and there's a lot of learning you can do by going abroad.
Do you think you have missed anything by तिम्रो आफ्नो हुन्छ नि यङ एजको कपल अफ इयर्स तिमीले बाहिर पठाउनु
या एब्सोल्युटली मैले यहाँ ब्याचलर्स नगरेर मेरो साथीहरू धेरै भएनन् होइन सो यहाँ आएर केही गर्नलाई इट्स लिटल बिट हार्डर बिकज आई थिङ्क ब्याचलर्सको साथीहरू आर perhaps the ones where you're like very close to भनौँ न you think alike and you might kind of think about collaborating, you know more about them,
you trust them.
Yeah, exactly. So त्यो भएन मेरो हाई स्कुलको साथीहरू छ प्रायः होइन सो त्यो ब्याचलर बाहिर गएर that's a disadvantage, right? So यहाँको मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ I think it's you know consider partnering with people who have been outside as well होइन अलिकति गाह्रो हुन्छ होला because त्यो ल्याङ्ग्वेज फरक हुन्छ स्किल सेट फरक हुन्छ होइन but that's how we're going to move ahead. That's where we're going to create different rules of the game, right? Where the बाहिरबाट अलिकति फरक रुल्स गर्न सिकेको आएको मान्छेहरू यहाँ आएर केही फरक केही ल्यायो भने that might be the difference you need. So यहाँको मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ you keep doing what you're doing because your network here, how you interact with people, तिम्रो काम गर्ने तौर तरिका होइन there are advantages because people from abroad don't know how to do that. But you still need broader vision. You need to yes, you need to figure out how to get investors, बाहिरको investors, बाहिरको clients कसरी ल्याउने त्यो चाहिन्छ. And again, basically it comes down to networking, talking, building awareness, right? I think that can go a long way. And your platforms like yours, I think will go a long way. We haven't had events, networking events, for example, which has really, I think, dampened a lot of people's motivation and ideas. I can't wait for that to start. And I really think, once we have more platforms, once we start talking to one another, त्यहाँबाट आइडियाजहरू पार्टनरसिप्सहरू आउन सक्छ.
तिमीले अघि भनेको कुरा के यो सर्भेलियन्स इकोनोमीमा होइन त्यहाँ चाहिँ आई थिङ्क यो ट्रस्टको प्रब्लम चाहिँ त्यसले ग्याप गरिदिन्छ होला कि है बिकज नाउ आई क्यान ट्रस्ट यु लुकिङ एट यर मेट्रिक्स के
Sarah, what's the metrics?
Metrics as in like have you paid your loans or not? Have you done your accident or not? How good are you with people?
Right.
How do your society judges you?
Right.
How good are you in your schools? All these surveillance metrics will give me. So I don't need to know you by childhood to trust you, right?
Right.
So त्यो पनि पोजिटिभ एस्पेक्ट जस्तो देखियो कि जस्तो तिमीले अघि ट्रस्ट नभएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मेबी तिम्रो कतिपय कोलाबोरेसनहरू पज भएको छ होला नि त.
Absolutely. अब त्यसमा चाहिँ होइन I think यसमा the difference becomes is you're relying on potential data philanthropy down the line where you're going to hope businesses that collect enough data and make enough money out of the data are going to feel philanthropic enough that they'll donate that data which will allow other SMEs to
make most out of it,
provide more services. But I don't want to rely on that. I want at least the system to be designed in such a way that businesses here, SMEs, have access to some shared data, shared platforms, right, that they can use to build their products and services. Right? So Tesma, I don't know, it requires policymakers. I think India, for example, of them, the India stack, for example, how they introduce their biometrics, your financial institutions or some bank account kholne, and now they're adding this like consent layer as well, additional like a data sharing layer pani cha haina. त्यसले गर्दा this design is such that customers are having power over their own data. एउटा फाइनेन्शियल इन्स्टिट्युसन देखि अर्कोसँग डेटा सेयर गर्नलाई उनले यस भनेपछि मात्र हुन्छ हैन. So I think we do need that level of system wide design where हामीले कुरा गर्ने ideasहरु हैन of data philanthropy which can lead to resiliency and better quality impact outcomes can happen, and we don't need to rely on like a benevolent dictator or like a big corporate who has made enough money to be philanthropic. And I don't want that to happen. And it ties into again like independence ko kura cha ni Nepali bhaera हैन. I think that is part of our identity. It's part of my identity, right? कि यो मलाई independent हुनु मन छ भनेर. So let's see where it goes.
And I really hope all you go major big companies please practice data philanthropy so that we can change perspective of amazing people like us minds faster. That I think private companies can be keep accountable enough to make most out of the data they have and alikati anonymity maintain गरेर open data practice गर्ने. अनि I think त्यो भयो भने अगेन कोलाबोरेटिभ हुन्थ्यो होला कि मोर एन्ड मोर कम्पनीज क्यान कम अप होइन मोर अन्टरप्रेनर्स क्यान कम अप एन्ड क्रिएट बेटर सोल्युसन अनि आई थिङ्क वी एज एन अन्टरप्रेनर द अदर अन्टरप्रेनर इज अलवेज अ फ्रेन्ड के जस्तो लाग्छ बिकज वी आर क्रिएटिङ डिफ्रेन्ट इन्डस्ट्री फर इच अदर होइन मेबी आई एज अ मिडिया अन्टरप्रेनर आई क्रिएटिङ अपर्च्युनिटिज या ल्यान्डस्केप फर अदर अन्टरप्रेनर्स हु आर ट्राइङ टु डु समथिङ होइन सो त्यो कन्टेक्समा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क यो को कम्पिटेटिभ भन्छ नि कोलाबोरेटिभ कम्पिटेटिभनेस चाहिँ आई थिङ्क इट्स मस्ट अनि या सो अब मेरो के अरे एउटा हामी लास्ट सेगमेन्ट पाएको छौँ होइन मेरो लास्ट सेगमेन्टको क्वेसन चाहिँ के भन्दाखेरि वाट इज लाइफ
What is life? What is life or what you make of it?
I don't know. How do you like आफू एक्लै हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ what do you think about what
Yeah. So you मलाई I think the past year or so was difficult for me personally, you know, for family level, personal level, professional level. And early on त्यसमा I think this was last year or so, you Clayton Christensen, it's a professor at Harvard Business School, who unfortunately died last year.
Okay.
And he writes about the disruptive economy. You know? And he had written a piece that became very famous. It's called "How Do You Measure Your Life?" And त्यो पढाएको थिएँ होइन, and that really influenced me. Where he highlighted, and think about तिम्रो जिन्दगीमा इन्ड्युरिङ ह्याप्पिनेस केबाट आउँछ होइन हाउ क्यान यु इन्स्योर द्याट यु आर ह्याप्पी फर अ लङ टाइम होइन वाट आर यु इन्ड्युरिङ सोर्सेस अफ ह्याप्पिनेस जिन्दगीमा फोकस इन द्याट भनेर भन्छ होइन द्याट्स वाट हि फोकस्ड अन भनेर बिकज देन your ability to be productive, to contribute to society, and it lasts longer.
उहाँले के आफ्नो युज केसेसहरु दिनुहुन्छ what are the things that
I know, but he's a very deeply religious man, I know, so he talks about his religion and faith, where he had certain principles, and he काम आएको बेलामा पनि he wouldn't let go of his religious principles. That's not the only principle I want to talk about, and तर अब I translated that to परिवार, you know, so family. It's one of the reasons why I came back to Nepal as well. Your family, right? We have a responsibility to our family, whether we like it or not, right? And if you can make your relationship with your family better, with your partner and your loved one better, I think those are eventually your enduring sources of happiness. अनि संसारमा जे बिग्रे पनि हैन त्यो कुरा तिमीले प्रिजर्भ गर्न सक्यो भने हैन
enduring happiness
what you can do in the marketplace is it doesn't matter, right? You will be able to contribute, you'll be able to make a positive impact no matter what. हैन सो त्यो एंकर चाहियो भनेर भन्छ नि हैन एंकर नभएको बोट त अब माथि हुरी लागेपछि जे पनि हुन सक्छ एंकर छ भने at least it's there, it's stable हैन and you can weather out the storm and do whatever. So his article is available freely online. It's called "How to Measure Your Life," and that's probably the most important thing for my life right now is the relationships that I have.
Nice, lovely. I'm loving this segment that I'm doing on my podcast. So last segment is I listen to a lot of podcasts from Tim Ferriss. While he's an amazing guy, I aspire. One of the person that I aspire to be beside his baldness, you know. So उहाँले चाहिँ के भन्नुहुन्छ भन्दाखेरि आफ्नो गेस्टलाई फिटनेसको बारेमा लेख्छ ब्रोले त किताबै हैन हामी 4 आवर वर्क विक थियो पहिला 4 आवर बडी वर्कआउट भनेर छ अनि बिग टाइम इन्भेस्टर अन साइकेडेलिक्स हैन अनि माइन्डसेटको कुरा माइन्डफुलनेसको कुरा हुन्छ नि खतरा हो के अन्टरप्रेन्योर पनि खतरा हैन $1 billion भ्यालुएसन गरिसक्नु भएको छ आफ्नो बिजनेसको अनि अमेजिङ पडकास्ट हो सो उहाँले चाहिँ आफ्नो गेस्टलाई चाहिँ के भन्नुहुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इफ यु वेयर गिभन अ बिलबोर्ड विथ मिलियन्स अफ पिपल आर वाचिङ इट एभ्री डे व्हाट वुड यु राइट भन्नुहुन्छ हैन नाउ वी डोन्ट ह्याभ मिलियन्स अफ पिपल आर वाचिङ अस एज अफ नाउ हैन वी होप विल बी हैन इन अ 30 million small country so we have a couple of thousands of people who are watching us listening us on a different platform हैन so what would you like to write we have a plate we can choose one of our empty plates please don't write on our sponsors.
Wait, can we use what someone else has said?
No. Do you have
to?
Yeah. You can use someone else anything. So it has to be something that you really feel about it. Okay. It cannot just be a random quotation, so that we can keep this quotation with you even after we have left our studio.
Because we talked about this, I know we talked about Steve Jobs and stay hungry, stay foolish, and
you told me how intentionally,
literally and metaphorically, भोकै पनि रहनुपर्छ हैन. So I actually I think that's the case.
So we have pen.
Okay. अनि foolish को चाहिँ के भन्ने अब keep experimenting. I think नेपालमा
नेपालीफाई गरेर हो.
Well, for context of Nepal भनौँ न. यहाँ बाहिरका हेरिरहेको मान्छेहरू यहाँबाट बाहिर जानेको मान्छेहरूलाई पनि हैन. I think that's also what they need to consider. Is hungry हुन पर्यो हैन. अनि अब
stupid
पनि experiment गर्नलाई foolish पनि हुन पर्यो है.
Yes.
So यहाँ लेख्यो हुन्छ.
Yes.
आफ्नो के युनिक केही बनाउनु पर्ने थियो होला.
हैन ठीक छ.
तर अब
आश्रयसँग कुरा गर्दा गर्दा मलाई उसको खतरा चाहिँ के लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि द वे ही लाफ के त्यो मलाई एकदम युनिक लाग्छ के तिम्रो चाहिँ.
All right.
Awesome. I think we had a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
This is your podcast के हैन. अनि I think podcast जसरी इभल्भ भइरहेको जसरी चेन्ज भइरहेको छ हैन. I think अब चाहिँ एक्चुअली नलेज होल्डर्स वुड बी द न्यू सेलिब्रिटीज न्यू इन्फ्लुएन्सर्स जस्तो लाग्छ कि बिकज I think मलाई जस्तो लाग्छ है. I think I'm loving this platform. I'm loving me being able to make money out of this. So that I can do more of it. And for all the brands, thank you so much. Before we end the podcast, Ashraya, do you have anything, your ending words you want to say to our audience? Anything that you want to say?
Just thanks so much for inviting me. This is a new experience for me. And I'm very excited by all the work you've done. So keep going, keep continuing. And to everyone else out there, if you have any interest in chatting about impact investing and the Nepali entrepreneurial ecosystem, reach out to me. Reach out to him, of course you will, but reach out to me as well. So looking forward to connecting with more people in the coming days.
Yes, अनि अर्को एउटा कुरा मलाई भन्न मन लाग्छ चाहिँ I think हामी नेपाली युथमा चाहिँ एउटा के बानी बसाल्न पर्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ there is a video के 100 days of rejection भन्ने हैन. अनि I think we should reach out to more people because हामीलाई चाहिँ नाइ कसले भनिदिन्छ भनेर डर लागेर हामीले गर्छौँ. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you end up missing a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of wonderful people. I reached out to him simply on a LinkedIn कि hi bro, I just want to talk to you, and he replied, and then we started having conversation. We met for a coffee, and then I think it's a good के भन्छ I get to meet him, he get to meet me, and then we are talking good ideas, recording it, अनि यस्तै synergy त क्रिएट हुन्छ हैन. So reach out to people, let them say no. Reach out to 100 people, 10 will say yes, 5 you will meet, you might end up collaborating with 1 people, and that's how it works, that's how life works. त्यसले कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ don't miss on reaching out people because you miss 100% of the opportunity you don't take. Right? And we would also like to thank our sponsors, ACC, our knowledge partner, Biscuit, our HR partner, our very comfortable. So how was this? How comfortable is this?
Ekdamai. I want to get one of this.
So Lavish Interiors, thank you so much for the sofa. We'll link the social handles of these guys below. Please check out and do support them because they're supporting us to create a content like this. And if you are a brand, if you have watched so far, I know there are people who watch the whole an hour long conversation. I know, so that's the validation that because you are watching it. And if you run a business, if you know someone who wants to tap into this ecosystem that we are building on entrepreneurial ecosystem, entrepreneurs, CEOs, investors to be entrepreneurs, please let's sit, let's collaborate, and let's create this amazing content that has a potential to change the future of this country. Till then, you guys take care. Bye bye.
All right.
Yes.